Welcome back, everybody, to another round of Modern Melee here in the booth with Marco and Ginkgo.
Hello, everyone.
What do we have today, Marco?
Well, we have Burn
Burn.
and Esper Control.
Not something you usually see in the feature match area. Neither Burn nor Esper Control have been as popular as they used to be. Controlling specifically has fallen out of favor. Now, do you have any incline why?
Well, I'm actually not completely sure. I'm not familiar with Esper Control particularly well. I rarely played against it, and I don't know much about it. So please do tell us why.
Well, so as I see it, first of all, we have the unfortunate thing of Esper Control mulliganing down to 5, and the second thing is Esper Control. Control decks in general have to have a specific metagame to thrive, and they have to know exactly what to put in their deck to counteract the decks that they can find in the metagame in high percentages. So if you're going to have a control deck, you need to know what your enemies are or what you are going to face against. As Modern Masters 2 came out, the metagame just went all over the place. And there was never a period in modern history where you had more viable decks in the format. I think that this is a great thing that diminishes the power of every control deck, because you just need to hedge against such a variety of things. And here we see Inquisition of Kozilek peeking at the Burn hand, and Burn does what Burn does best, goes Burn, and there is a lot of things in that hand.
Okay, so Burn has a very creature-heavy start here, which is rare, I think, but not unseen. But he doesn't lack any lightning bolts.
Exactly.
A very explosive start with Monastery Swiftspears having very, very good synergy with lightning bolts because of prowess. And I want to touch a bit now that you explained everything about why controls aren't so good. I want to touch a bit on that. So, controls, as it seems to me, need to be efficient at slowing the opponent's board and hand.
Exactly.
And
either or both.
Yeah, exactly. And with Modern Masters 2 and, Modern being as it is, it's quite hard to slow some decks down.
Exactly. So here we see Hardcast, Rift, and Prowess from the Swiftspear, and the first game is over. So let's talk about some more about the matchup itself and how the control player could slow this down. So I know for a fact this is build with Stoneforge Mystics, so there ought to be a Better Skull or Kaldra Compleat in there just to slow things down, just to gain some life and have a lot of incidental life gain in that regard. Other than that, any kind of control deck, including this one, will probably be creature light. We saw Snapcaster Mage trading for Goblin Guide at the early start of this match, but outside of Stoneforge Mystic, I do think this is the only creature in the deck, and the other cards will be just removal, counterspells, and draw engines. Now, Esper is, in my honest opinion, a really good color combination for control deck. That does not mean that control decks are good now, unfortunately.
It's true, and I don't like this Stoneforge Mystic. I'm gonna talk about this matchup. It really doesn't do it for me. Stoneforge Mystic might tutor for that better skull, but chances are it's just gonna die and before it untaps. So this
But
might be a bad matchup. Yeah.
But yes, definitely a bad matchup. But if I may intervene with burn, every card they point to your creatures is 3 life that you gain, right?
Yeah, in theory, this is an argument that I hear so often, and in theory it works like that, but in practice, I firmly believe, and I'm not backed by any kind of statistics, but I firmly believe that it's not true. I think that burn can really remove creatures and still have enough damage to burn your brains.
I mean, that's definitely true with cards that deal 3 damage to the creatures and 3 damage upstairs, and the Shatter effect that also deal damage to a player. They can remove either the Better Skull or the Stoneforge Mystic before they untap, but those are mostly sideboard cards. In the main deck, it's always tough to go against burn, especially if you are a control deck who is slow, because each draw step that you give them is approximately 2 life less at your life total, because if they draw land, they are mostly happy to do so, whether to just fling more burn spells your way or just to have those sack lands that draw extra cards. And if they do not draw land, then it's a burn spell. Probably also very bad for the opponent.
Yeah. So basically, burn. Why the popularity of burn has dropped over the last few months, I guess?
It's also, I think, I'm wrong, but it's because there are better options, which is a scary sentence to say. Because burn was always popular. First of all, I do think that burn is a very complex deck to play. And usually people go like, oh, burn, you just need to count up to 20 with your three damage spells, and that's it. That's highly wrong, especially with Lurrus involved and more creature-heavy builds, but that's besides the point. What we have is matchup that you need to think. Do you want your 3 mana burn spell, 3 damage burn spell going towards a Snapcaster, which will block your Swiftspear, or you will point it upstairs, or you will kill the Stoneforge Mystic if you do not have the perfect solution for it, for example. And if we see here, for example, game 2 Thoughtseize, or better yet, Inquisition of Kozilek, which we see taking the crucial points, so skull cracks or whatever else burn spell they deem necessary taking. For example, this card that doesn't let the opponent gain life, for example. This is also kind of pressure that each one of Inquisition of Kozilek's, not Thoughtseize, but Inquisition of Kozilek's gains the opponent 3 life. And here we see 2 of them, just making short work.
Well, two Inquisitions of Kozilek in starting hand is definitely great when you're on the play against burn. There is no doubt about it.
Exactly.
Okay, how do you feel about Thoughtseizes against burn?
No, I know it's a very slim chance that you will take one card that will be worth more than the 2 damage that you inflict yourself, but you're down a card, and you still inflicted 2 damage to yourself. That's one of the downsides. The second downside is that those kind of games will probably go on more than several turns. So you will go into the mid-game territory of turn 5, turn 6. And if you top deck a Thoughtseize turn 5, you're dead. you're just down a card, you're dead, and every card counts, be it something that gains life, be it something that blocks, be it something that kills their Swiftspear or more prominent answers. And here we see, for example, Kaya's Guile. Doing a good impression of just gain a bunch of life and do something else, doesn't matter what, maybe put a token or something else into play. But end step Kaya's Guile, if this were a Thoughtseize, for example, or something else, then this would be a dead card.
Okay, so Kozilek's very, very worth their. Well, they did a great job, and Burn is in a kind of a slow state. Doesn't have much.
Yeah, but Burn can afford to be so.
Okay.
Because they are, especially from something like Esper Control, they're under almost no pressure. This one can pack a long time before it is considered to be a pressure, or life total becomes so low that they need to fear for their life. And they can afford to just have a plethora of spells in their hand and for example, resolve something like a rolling vortex.
And that's the second one.
Exactly. So a rolling vortex, for those who do not know, it is almost like a molten vortex, but it deals at the beginning of each player's upkeep, deals 1 damage to them, and then you can pay 1 red to deny your opponent's life gain with said rolling vortex, which I think I called molten vortex before. But also you can, if a card is played and no mana is paid for that card, the player takes 5 damage. So overall a very good card in such a matchup that warrants something like mitigation of life gain. But also Burn players can just wait, and as we said, there is not actual pressure, but we here see Geist of Saint Draft on the other side of the battlefield, which actually is a lot of pressure.
Tell me a bit about this card.
This is a relic from the past, if I ever saw one. Unfortunately for everybody who is in love with this card, and I am one of those people who really, really adores Geist of Saint Draft. This is a 3 mana 2/2 hexproof, and with no further text. No, I'm joking. Whenever it attacks, you create a 4/4 flying angel tapped and attacking, which makes this a 6 power attacker or a really bad hexproof blocker. So this was popular back in the day when control decks were very prominent as either a sideboard option or a main deck option, just to slam this on turn 3 if you're on the play, and Counterspell was not a thing in Modern back then, back in my day. Or just to wait for the opportune moment and have some kind of protection against counterspells or something else, and slam this on an empty board and deal massive amounts of damage in a short period of time. For example, this counts as really, really big amounts of pressure. And the good or bad thing, depending who you ask, is that Geist of Saint Draft has hexproof and cannot be targeted by any means.
Okay, we see 2 lightning helixes dealing 6 damage and healing the burn player for 6, which is great because it was last 2 cards in the burn player's hand and Esper Charm was played.
I believe with the mode discard 2 cards.
I do believe that as well. Interesting. I must admit I didn't see this list with this Geist and Esper Charms. Definitely a very archaic Esper list, I would say.
Yes, but one that has some legs. Be it because it is extremely well tuned for the metagame we find itself in, or because it is just playing good cards. But all of those cards are cards that we have seen a long time ago. And here we see another Esper Charm with the mode, I believe, destroy target enchantment. But it's not to say that those cards are bad. For example, Serum Visions is a card that is better suited for example, this kind of play where you do not need the card immediately, but you value the selection more than the draw.
Indeed. And this guy is doing a lot of work.
Yeah, so we see now Lurrus being played and bringing something back, probably.
Roiling Vortex, I assume?
If maybe there is another mana, but yeah, no, only a Goblin Guide.
Okay.
But it is a great blocker for the Geist of Saint Trap if it survives. And we see the Esper player has just a full grip of cards, and if one of them is a removal spell, which probably it is, then the Lurrus will be down. But we will see another Serum Vision, drawing a card, and scrying 2, putting some on top, some on bottom, probably, we will see. But still, full grip of cards, and we know that those are spells because the control player has been stuck on 4 lands, and when I say stuck, it actually is getting stuck because they can really use all the mana they have.
Interesting attack with the Geist, and an easy block with the Goblin Guide still deals 4 damage, and if this attack was everything, I don't believe it was a great attack, but okay, Esper player has something else.
Yeah, I don't believe this is the whole thing. Oh yeah, okay, that's a dam, clearing Lurrus down, and we will see what the next steps will be.
7 life is definitely not something you want to be at against the Burn player, but I think that Burn player is top decking now, and he needs a combination of Boros Charm and Lightning Bolt.
Exactly.
Something.
I was about to say, barring Boros Charm, difference between 7 life and 6 life is a whole another card.
Yes.
And this was maybe a small risk from the Esper player, but if they untapped, and they did untap with full grip of cards, I don't believe that the Burn player can get out of this. And this 2/3 lifelinker is going in to gain some life and put the Burn player dangerously low to 1 life, which means fetch lands are off, which means the pain lands are off, and we see actually there's a Boros Charm. Yes. So this attack was actually well warranted.
Okay, so let's see. 5 life is definitely the worst possible. I mean, it's not the worst. You can be on 1 life.
Yeah, but we see the Burn players scooping up the cards, and it was well warranted, the attack. So, we have a shaky camera here. So whatever they had in their hand, the Esper player successfully mitigated the Burn onslaught with some life gaining, with some removal, and with timely discard spells.
I'm gonna take this time to remind you all to like, share, and subscribe. I know that you can do it. It's free, and if you like the content, if you want to see more, please go ahead and do it. And if you have any suggestions, please write in the comment section. We will read them for definitely, and we will answer as well. We'll talk with you.
Come on, join us. It's fun.
Yeah, come here. Okay, so I am I am pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect this to go to game three. Burn may not be as popular, but I still think it's holding up, even after
Oh,
Modern
definitely.
Horizons 2 with the power level skyrocketing. It's
Mhm.
still holding up with barely any changes. I don't think it changed.
No, I do not think the main board change it at all. There are some variations, whether be it more creature based or more just spell based. But in general, I do not think the main board of Burn got any new additions
Yeah.
from Modern Horizons 2.
In any case, it's still a very, very scary deck to play against.
Exactly. It's a deck that just can hold its own, and it has the inevitability that a
Exactly.
lot of decks cannot overcome.
Yeah.
If you're a control deck, if you're anything that has no pressure or just needs a little bit more time to develop, you will be in a very scary spot against any burn player. And uh, this deck is, as we said, not easy to master, but it's easy to play. For anybody who has not taken any deck into their hands, Burn might be just the easiest, both on budget and on mental power, to just sit down and fling some spells, put some creatures sideways, and just dwindle the opponent's life total down to zero. But mastering burn is a whole other issue. Same goes with Esper Control or any control in general. They have a much higher ceiling, but their floor is also lower. Which means, for example, if, as we said, the control players need to have a specific metagame to thrive, and if they find or happen upon match or a series of matches where those matches are not on their radar, their whole strategy will crumble. For example, something that just doesn't care about removal, and they have 10 or 15 removal in their deck, as we see with Path of Exile now. Or if some decks play Cavern of Souls, or Aether Vial, or whichever one of those cards that doesn't care about counterspells, then we have another problem that is just more spells that are stranded in their hand. And
Prismatic ending, Path to Exile seems like as per player sided it all. Now,
Exactly.
I'm not very fond of siding too much creature removal against burn.
Oh, yeah.
But it works sometimes. It works sometimes.
I mean, it's not so much as if the Esper player that has too much creature removal to side in. It is probably the case of there is too much junk in the main deck that doesn't do anything against burn, and just let's see if any one of those cards that we have in our sideboard has any percentages to just represent anything against burn. And here we see Path to Exile main phase to give the burn player another land.
Very hasty, very hasty.
Yeah, I would just wait up until the upkeep. They don't have counter spells, they cannot punish you for waiting to your upkeep, or just wait till the attack step.
Yeah, this is actually a great example to to teach anyone who wants to learn, who doesn't know how to use Path of Exile. It's not a very popular card anymore. You generally don't want to play it in your own turn, especially because it's an instant card. So there was a lot of there is another Path of Exile in the main phase of the Esper player.
Yeah, I still do not love it because your opponent will untap with the land, so it's as if they traded, in this case, 2 mana for 2 damage to your face, 1 card from your hand, and you're giving them another land. So a ramp that is usually around 2 mana. So they're up up against up with the mana count, up with the card count, and up with the damage count.
So, if there is any Esper Control players watching this video, please do tell us in the comment section if you pulled all your hair out.
But also we see another glaring problem, which is the lack of lands from the Esper side. Here is the third land, and we see the other side having 6 of them, 2 of them which have been granted by Path to Exile, but still, I do think that the Esper player missed a land drop or 2.
Yeah, definitely. Being screwed is nothing great ever. Definitely, board state is weird. So, Esper Control player has lands like an aggro deck, and the Burn has lands like a control deck.
Control deck. And here we see the first outing of Stoneforge Mystic going for that Better Skull. But we also know that the Burn player has a full grip of cards in their hands. So, chances for this Stoneforge Mystic to live?
Very, very slim. Very, very slim. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we will see actually. Only one black mana available for the Esper player and 3 mana available for the Burn player. And I believe this is the end step of the Esper player.
Mm-hmm.
They tutored up the Better Skull in their hand, and there seems to be a little bit of delay and debate about something. We will see what it is. But the Burn player is thinking about their next play, and here we see a Boros Charm right to the dome, taking 1 damage. I don't think it will matter, but what is the next?
So Burn player is calculating his
rates of success.
Lethality,
Yes.
lethal damage, sorry. He doesn't care. He possibly doesn't care about this Stoneforge Mystic.
Exactly. So what is a good thing about Stoneforge Mystic is the inevitability. But Stoneforge Mystic needs to untap to be able to put the Better Skull in.
And then
you need to untap with the Better Skull on the field to be able to attack. So those are 3 steps or 2 untap steps that you need to fade for this Better Skull to be worth it.
Exactly.
It is an extremely good card against Burn. But it is a good card against Burn if it's on the battlefield attacking. And if it's in the hand and you have 3 lands and Stoneforge Mystic that is summoning 6, then not so much. But we see the Burn player drawing a card from the land and hoping to find... Yes, so the Esper player is at 7 life points, which means 1 Boros Charm and 1 Lightning Bolt or Lightning Bolt adjacent card. And the game is over, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I do believe, yeah, exactly. The Burn player has like 4 cards in their hand. What is going on with this game?
Are those cards lands?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I hope not, because they pulled out several lands with Path of Exiles, and they sacked several lands to draw cards. So we'll see. Maybe they are specific sideboard cards.
Okay.
Oh, here we see a Lava Spike. There we go. That's a Burn card. What else?
What else? There's still 3 cards in hand and 3 mana on the board. What's happening?
Exactly. They probably can deploy the whole hand if they need to or have to. But it seems like something is going on in the background. I cannot be sure what is happening with this game.
This is probably a master of the Burn deck, and he's calculating some very okay. Here
Another 3 damage to the face, and okay, 3 mana for Lurrus. Okay, we're moving.
Very good.
Okay. The Esper player is at 1, and the most important thing for the Burn player is not to attack with Lurrus.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And, of course, to just draw 1 Burn spell.
1 Burn spell. Well, he needs to draw 1 Burn spell now.
Exactly, yeah. If he doesn't draw one burn spell now, maybe he has some kind of a shatter effect or bounce effect or exile effect for the germ token, and that could do the trick. But if the bear skull starts connecting, every one of those connects is 1.3 cards from the burn player or one Boros Charm. They are unlikely to come back from this. I do think I see timely reinforcements in the Esper player's hand, which is also an interesting card, especially in this board state, because they will definitely gain 6 life, which is a lot in this state, especially while the burn player is tapped out. But they will not gain any creatures. Which, I mean, is a detriment, but I do believe the 3 mana gain 6 life in this particular position is good enough.
I think that's the right call.
Yes.
I think that Pattern Skull would be a mistake, and timely reinforcements definitely is the correct line in this particular situation. Is that card an instant?
Timely reinforcements?
Yeah. No.
I don't believe so. That would be actually extremely good. But also what the burn player can do is go to their turn, draw a card. If they have any of the sack lands, probably draw another card. If the Esper player doesn't play timely reinforcements, which they should and they will probably do, but if they don't, attack with Lurrus, and if they receive 6 life gained. But if they didn't do so, attack with Lurrus and see if the Esper player puts the Better Skull in with Stoneforge Mystic. At that point, any burn spell can go at the dome because they're tapped out and maybe they feared for any counter spells or something. Now they can just attack with Lurrus because they can attack with Lurrus. There is only 1/2 blocking a Squire. But also they can recurse something. No, all of their Eidolons got exiled with the Path of Exile.
So now the Esper player blocks, fearing Boros Charm, probably?
Which is a win-win situation for the burn player.
Yeah, definitely.
Because now the Better Skull is stranded in their hands.
Still no land for the Esper player.
Yes, but... Okay, a Snapcaster Mage for another Path of Exile. Still not a great thing giving the burn player more lands. But at this point they have so many lands that another one might...
I don't think that they have any... they don't search. They didn't search.
They didn't search. Declined to search. No more basic. Now, Path of Exile is a great...
Yeah, it's an amazing card.
I wish they printed something like this in white.
Yeah.
And here we see Snapcaster Mage getting frisky on the attack. There's a Chaos Guile also in their hand, as I see, and this is also something that can gain incidental life, that can get rid of a pesky creature or just make a blocker, whatever the case is. Oh, yeah. Searing Blaze.
For 1, I think.
Sorry,
is
what?
It 1?
Might be, but I do think there is a fetch land being played. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, but Chaos Guile at the end step probably gain 4 life, make a spirit or something in response. 4. Oh yeah, 2 skull cracks up the dome, and that's the game. So this is what the burn player has been waiting for. So 2 skull cracks, just to be sure, just to have the germ token under control. And there we see the whole hand full of removal, stranded in their hand. As we said, if they draw the wrong half of the deck, it is game over.
Well played by the burn player, I must say. That was impressive. That was definitely a master of the burn deck.
I would agree.
Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this match. I will be boring again and remind you all to go like, share, and subscribe. Write down in comments if you like this content and if you have any suggestions.
Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Bye.